morning and welcome to Backyard and Beyond. Well, winterizing your home is not something that I'm an expert on, but we have lots of folks in the area who are, like folks at the lumberyard and your furnace dealer and folks at hardware stores. You know, there's lots of folks that can help you out with it. So this is mostly reminders. And some of the things are really big projects that you're not going to be doing right now, but there are other small things that are not very expensive that you could still do. And some of them are from the inside, some of them from the outside. And this weekend's supposed to be really nice. So if you have some outside things you want to do, that may be one of the last great days to do them. By the way, did you know there's only one state in the United States where the temperatures have never dipped below zero? Think about that a little bit. Yeah, the answer is Hawaii. Lucky for them. They have some other things going on, but not temperatures below zero. Well, here's some things to check on in terms of maybe you check them off, you haven't done, or something you still need to do. It's always a good idea to have your furnace inspected yearly. And so you might want to check with your friendly furnace dealer and have him or her come out and do that job. Stock up on furnace filters and, watch for the ads. A lot of times those are on sale here during the fall and when it's getting colder. And they should probably be changed monthly. Just something to put on your list, maybe the first of every month or whatever, to do that on a regular basis because it saves money, helps your furnace work more efficiently. Consider, this would be a bit more expensive, but not terribly expensive. Consider switching out your thermostat for a programmable thermostat. And of course, just kind of check around your furnace, make sure there aren't any flammable materials that are in the area surrounding your furnace. You probably just want to keep the whole area pretty much clear of anything around your furnace. Okay, if you have a fireplace, then there's a couple things you need to do. If you haven't been up there to check the cap for a while, that would be a good idea to keep out rodents and birds. If it hasn't been cleaned for a while, usually that doesn't need to be done every year, but and that usually requires sort of an expert to come and remove the soot and the creosote. Get your supply of wood ready, but some of you have that piled up. I've seen those piles around town. Inspect the fireplace damper for proper opening and closing. And check the mortar between bricks and tuck point if necessary. It might be a little harder to get done, but if it's only a few, yeah, you could probably get that done. Well, check the exterior doors and windows. Inspect the exterior for crevice cracks and exposed entry points around pipes. Think about where you have pipes or various things going in and out of your house. The dryer vent, for instance. Perhaps there you have some faucets that come through the wall. Wherever there's something that comes through the wall that's kind of broken, so to speak, it was done on purpose, but broken that area, you need to check around that and see if those need to be sealed up. And while you're doing that, you go to buy the caulk, whatever, to seal them. Probably need to check the use of the temperature use on those. Use weather stripping around doors and windows, and if there's a cracked glass that should really be replaced, maybe at this point in time you can't do that, but you can always cover either the inside or outside with plastic, and that would keep that air from coming in and out until next spring when you can get it replaced. If you have a home basement, consider protecting its window wells by covering them with plastic shields. Also keeps the weed seeds out so you won't have so many weeds growing in them next spring. And of course, if you have storm windows, well, they should have been on, and that's usually a big job. Here's a job you can still do if you haven't done, and that's check out the gutters and the downspouts to make sure that they are clear. You may have to do that a couple times. There's still a lot of leaves falling, and if you're close to a tree, you probably have leaves sticking there in the gutters. Check flashing to ensure water cannot enter your home, and consider installing leaf guards on the gutters so you won't have to keep checking those out and cleaning them out. What about your equipment around the home in terms of taking care of your yard and your home. Drain the gas from lawnmowers. Service or tune up the snow blowers if you have some of those. Do you have a good snow shovel? Those can wear out, especially those plastic ones, and pretty soon they're really unhandy to use. Clean, dry, and store your summer gardening equipment. Get the rust off of them. Always like to spray them with a little WD-40 to kind of clean them up. And if you have some ice choppers, you might want to make sure they're sharp and have some ice melt on hand. Hate to talk about having ice melt on hand, but you know that's going to happen here eventually. Well, check around the foundations. A good idea to rake away all the debris and vegetation from around the foundation. Seal up any entry points. That kind of goes back to those places where you may have pipes or something going through your walls, or there may just be some cracks in your foundation. Did you know that mice can slip through a space as thin as a dime? So you want to keep those little, they want to get in. It's warm inside. They'd like to get in there. So help keep them out. Kind of keep all those cracks and crevices filled up. Check out those smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. If you didn't do that during Fire Prevention Week, now is a good time to do that. Kind of check out how many smoke detectors do you need in your home and where are they placed. If you have a question about that, check with one of the local firemen and they can give you some direction. Install a carbon monoxide detector near your furnace or water heater, and you may need more than one of those in your home. If you already have them installed, now's a good time, if you haven't already done it, is to test them to make sure that they are working, that the batteries are good. And of course, I think it's recommended that you replace the batteries once a year, even if you think they're still working. How about a fire extinguisher? How many of those do you have around your home? Well, my information says you should replace them when they're older than 10 years. And you may want to check on that. There may be a label on your fire extinguisher that suggests when it should be replaced, or again, one of our local firemen or fire ladies would be glad to answer that question for you. Drain all garden hoses, of course. You may want to insulate exposed plumbing pipes. And if you go on vacation, leave the heat on and set it to at least 55 degrees. I've sort of been questioning that. How low can we go without having some danger in our homes? Well, this information suggests 55 degrees is probably the lowest you'll want to set that thermostat. Well, can you still do some pruning? Absolutely. If you want to get out there and do some pruning to trees that might have dropping branches. We found we had lots of branches that hadn't fallen earlier did during this last big wind, and so there may still be some of those that could be pruned out. And actually, you can prune all winter long. When the plants are dormant, just got that good word from Larry Bowman, our tree expert, that trimming during the time that they are dormant is the best time to trim, whether that's now or early spring. Also, you can still plant. If you're not tired of putting bulbs in the ground, you can still plant those or even some other plants as long as the ground is not frozen and there's a little time for the roots to develop and get down into the soil. You can still do some planting. Maybe some of you, like I don't this year, but sometimes I have some bulbs sitting around there. It didn't get out when it was really nice to do that. Well, it's not too late. You may want to remove the dead vegetation from your gardens, but think about a couple of things. Some of those grasses, of course, should be left because they're going to provide some winter interest all winter. And for some of that vegetation, it really protects the plant during the winter. And unless there's a lot of disease there, even if I trim it, I oftentimes leave it right in place because it's a lot of it compost. You don't even have to worry about getting rid of it in the spring. And of course, if you haven't already done so, it's probably too late to move those potted plants indoors unless they've been in a sheltered area. But it's time to get those in. You may want to take a little extra time to wash them off. You may want to use an insecticide. Make sure you're not carrying insects that have been on them from the outside indoors to the plants that you already have there. And finally, good idea to check to see, do you have an emergency kit? Do you know where there are candles or a great flashlight that has good batteries? Maybe some extra water, a couple gallons of extra water, and just, think about what you might need in an emergency. We had good practice at that last winter, so, just remind yourself those are the things that we need to do for this winter just in case. And until next time, there has been more information produced in the 35 years, 1965 to 2000, than in the 5,000 years of 3000 BC to 2000 AD.